Hi everyone, and welcome to another Joy Clair Stamps video. Today we're going to be creating a quick and easy Halloween card using the October Fun stamp set. So I have already stamped and fussy cut and colored a few of the little trick-or-treaters images, but I wanted to show you quickly how I colored in this little ghost trick-or-treater to give it a little bit of color, a little bit of depth without actually changing the color from white. You can go ahead and watch that back in slower motion if you want more detail, but it's very simple and easy to do with some light gray colored pencils. And I also stamped the little vampire, the witch, two of the little bags from the set. I fussy cut those as well and colored those in with my Prismacolored pencils. There's a full look at that October Fun stamp set. It is full of adorable little trick-or-treaters, the bags, you have the bats to finish off the scene if you want to. But right now I'm going to go ahead and do some die cutting to create my stencils. Now I started off with a circle. That is about a 2.5 or 3-inch circle. I die cut that from just some plain computer paper, very thin kind of typing paper. Then I'm using a cloud border. I'm also cutting that from computer paper. I want to keep both of those, the top and the bottom of that die cut. And I'm also going to go ahead and do the same exact thing with a landscape border die. Now if you don't happen to have a circle die cut or any type of die cut, just use a plate or a little cup, trace it, cut it out with your scissors. You can also freehand the landscape and also the cloud border if you don't have those on hand. It's very easy to do by hand if you don't have those dies. So for my scene, I'm going to go ahead and create a circular scene. So I have overlaid my circle stencil in the bottom right hand corner, and I've just kind of made kind of like a little cone shape on the bottom of the card. Now I want to go ahead and tape this into place, so I'm using removable tape. This is painter's tape. You can use washi tape, whatever you have on hand, but I don't want this going anywhere, so I'm actually going to flip this over and tape the back of the card to that stencil that I've created as well. That's going to hold everything in place. I know it's not going to shift around on me because that is the one constant that's going to remain in this scene, so I don't want it moving. Now for my next stencil, I'm going to go ahead and use that top of the landscape border die, and then I'll go ahead and use some Mowed Lawn Distress ink, and I'll just stencil right over that and create my grassy hill. So right now I've got a double stencil going on here. I've got my circle scene and also that hill border that I'm going to be sponging over both of those. This is why I like to use computer paper. You don't have to give so much pressure to get through those really tough layers. Then if you're using thicker paper, you're going to have a harder time getting that ink to the paper and getting those nice crisp lines. The thinner the paper, the better off it is. You can layer up more stencils that way. Now for my ink blending, I like to start with the lighter hand at the top of the stencil and work my way down, building up the color as I go. And I also want to go ahead and create a little depth on this scene, and it is a night scene, so I pulled out some vintage photo. I'll add that just to the very top of that hill. That's going to give a nice little shadow to the top of this hill and make it not so vibrant green. And then just to tone down that brown a little bit, I'll come back over and pounce on some more mowed lawn, but now it's going to be a little bit more muted and not so bright. So once I had my hill completely done and I was happy with it, it was time to go ahead and use the other portion of that hill to go ahead and mask off what I had just stenciled in so I don't get any ink on that bottom portion. And then I'll go ahead and bring in my cloud border die in just a moment. I want to go ahead and first get some hickory smoke down though. This is going to be my background color of the sky. Like I said, I'm doing a night scene here, so I decided to pull out my hickory smoke. Now you could do any number of colors here. If you wanted to make it a daytime scene, you could use blue, you could make a sunset scene. It really is up to you, but I just went for straight gray here. Now once I was happy with the intensity of that gray, I didn't want it too dark because I'm going to come in now and add some clouds over that. So I pulled out some black soot distress ink, and I'm using a very light hand here. I don't want it too dark, and I'm just going to move this cloud border die up a little bit each time I go ahead and sponge over that. Now I'm just using an upward motion going from the bottom of the cloud to the top, and that creates those nice fluffy clouds right in the background. Now I went ahead and started adhering all my little trick-or-treaters right onto the circular scene. I'm using fun foam and double-sided adhesive. You can use foam tape as well. Just something to give them a little dimension to kind of pop them off that background. So I first put down my little vampire on the right hand side, the little witch on the left hand side, and then I'll come in with that ghost right in the center. Now he is going to be a little bit in front, so I did make his feet a little bit lower than the other two. And now I want to add those little trick-or-treat bags. Now in order to do this, I'm going to use a little bit of fun foam right where it hangs off the little witch's dress, because I do want this to be flush with her little hand there. The great thing about these trick-or-treaters is they've got their little hands to where it looks like they can either be standing there, or if you add the bags, it actually looks like they're holding them. Now, my next one I want to go ahead and add to the little ghost. Now again, I want it to be flush, so I just added some double-sided adhesive down, and I popped that right over the little ghost's hand. Now, to add my sentiment, I'm going to be using the Hello Sentiment stamp set. I grabbed out the big sending word, and I want to curve it to fit around that circle. So I put the circle die cut down. I went ahead and shaped that sending so it lined up with the edge of that die cut. To help place that, I put a piece of acetate down. The stamp sticks to that acetate, so I don't have to fuss a whole lot with it. I can just kind of press it down once I have it where I want it, press down the lid of my MISTI, and then I can go ahead and stamp this. Now I got a little carried away with my curve here, but that's okay. I'm going to show you how I fix that. So I stamped it a few times with some black dye ink, but that D was just a little bit too curved. It didn't want to stamp solid, so I just grabbed out a black pen and filled that in very quickly, and it's like it didn't even happen. Now the next thing I messed up, I went ahead and stamped out this hugs word from the Hello Sentiments. I didn't like it stamped over the background. It blended right in, so I stamped it on a piece of white cardstock, cut that out, and popped it up to cover up my mistake. But that finishes that card off so super easy, but very cute. Here's a closer look at that finished card. And again, if you look back at that stamp set, you've got so many little trick-or-treaters to choose from. You could switch this up, make a ton of these, make little tags for classroom treats, a lot of different things you can do with that stamp set. Now, if you are interested in the stamps that were used on the project today, or any other of the Joy Clair Stamps products, you will find the link to the store down in the description box below. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of the videos from Joy Clair. Thanks for watching.